Hi, I'm going to leave a pinned comment in the description that gives you a timestamp to skip this intro because this is going to be a long, like 5-minute intro. And yeah, it's kind of necessary. So before I say anything, you need to understand just a little bit about me to understand the perspective. I have spent 100 hours playing every class at their max level. I've beaten Hell on Earth solo with every class on every map and with every class about 20 to 30 times, give or take. I also beat Hell on Earth, all 3 of the bosses, within the first day of the game coming out. So, I'm not saying this lightly, and this is going to sound a little harsh and a little condescending, but trust me, it's coming from a place of I can either be a bit of an asshole and true, or I can pretend to be nice to risk not hurting people's feelings. And I'm going to go with the first option. Medic is the worst class in the game, and if you disagree, you only do so because you lack some kind of understanding or your skill level isn't the highest. I think that's a pretty diplomatic way to put that, I hope. And that, again, sounds very condescending, but if you listen and you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Healing is not intrinsically valuable at all. What is the difference between 50 HP and 100 HP? About 2 Scrake attacks, 2 to 3 Scrake attacks in Hell on Earth with armor. Well, does it really matter? One, every class in this game, except for Commando, has a really good form of self-healing that they can keep on themselves. Every class also has syringes. So a class like Firebug can heal by standing in their fire, heal by using their ultimate, or pop a syringe for most of their health. Everyone can heal each other with Medic Pistol. So if someone has 50 HP and dies in like a second before you can react and heal them, they were going to die at 100 HP anyways. So the other role of support is to enhance your teammates. Unfortunately, the medic in Killing Floor 3 has just about the worst support perks of all time. So he's not good at providing buffs to anyone. Nobody really needs healing in this game. And here's a final really condescending statement, so I hope you don't take it that way, but there's no other way to say this. If someone in this kind of game consistently needs a lot of healing, you genuinely have to ask yourself the question, is it more effective to just say, fuck them kids, let them suffer, play a better class that allows you to contribute significantly more to the objective of winning the game by killing the enemies? Or provide meager support to the worst players? Because remember, support is a force multiplier. And there is a difference between giving a force multiplier to a 50 cal, like, sniper, versus a 22 pistol. You see what I'm saying? So those are the things you need to weigh in when you consider the goodness of Medic. And the other thing you need to consider, Medic is a gigantic crutch, especially in solo. He is the worst at winning the game, but he's the best at keeping you alive. The problem is, if you are taking so much damage that what the medic provides to keep you alive in the first place is valuable to you, then I'm sorry, but you're not actually good. You just have a crutch. Whereas once you get better at the game and you stop taking all that damage in the first place, you'll see a class like Ninja that does like 60% more damage than the medic, or God forbid a class like Sharpshooter that does over 100% more damage than the medic, just kills enemies way before they're even a threat. Okay. Now, none of that is to say that medic isn't sort of valuable, but he's just kind of not. Okay. Now, I think I've covered my ass sufficiently. So I need to remember this. 4:30 is when I got to timestamp this. Let's break down the medic. So, to begin with, let's talk about his weapons. His weapons are all terrible. Do not use any of them. All 4 of these are in contention for the worst weapons in the game. This one will get a special note in a second. So what makes his weapon so fucking bad? Well, this weapon has 104 damage. Terrible. This weapon has 104 damage. Terrible. By the way, this is with me using the mods that give up, like, the healing capacity for damage. So these are even worse. So this is the other problem with Medic. Medic provides the least amount of damage increases in the entire game, on top of having the worst selection of weapons in the entire game. Would you like to see something really fucking sad? The Commando's white weapon deals more damage than the Medic's blue weapon. And do 30 healing darts really make that much of a difference when you get unlimited healing darts through the pistol that already do enough healing, especially if multiple people buy them? The only Medic weapons worth anything are the Healinator 5000. You just hold this weapon and use it to just shit out spam healing to your teammates whenever they may need it. And you can make the argument for this weapon. The problem with this weapon is this right here. The ammo costs are insane. You cannot get enough ammo without ammo bags to even maintain this weapon in solo. I know, I've tried. You can also, by the way, macro. Just make a macro that spams toggle fire like this. And as you're shooting this, hold that macro down, and every shot generates 5 more darts that the macro instantly shoots out. I have used this weapon in solo Hell on Earth on stream multiple times, even using a macro to shoot out literally hundreds of heal darts, and I will still not have enough ammo to finish the wave. We have never really been able to consistently finish waves with this weapon, even macroing it for extra damage. And that's because it costs so much to shoot. It costs 11 fucking bullets to shoot this thing. So, really, if you actually do the math on this, you only have, like, 400 shots with this. So you have about 400 with full ammo and the extra ammo perk. You can get, like, almost 800. But it's like, at base, you're looking at about 400 shots for 208 damage, whereas the MP5 is 104 shots at 80 or at 840 capacity. So, like, if you were to do the damage total without the dart macroing of this weapon, then the MP5 and this weapon reach about the same damage totals. Because this weapon is like half the total ammo of this. So it may do double damage, but, like, why? Who cares? If they each consumed 1 bullet, they would each do the same damage. So, this weapon just doesn't really have the chops. And that's already considering the only benefit. I will say this weapon is much better in multiplayer because do damage, heal dart. But honestly, what you should be doing with the medic is ignoring literally all of his weapons, because here's another sort of hot take for you. If people need the medic heals before wave 4, they are so bad at the game. Genuinely, they just shouldn't be playing Hell on Earth. Period. Your self-healing, your syringes should be more than enough to never go down before wave 4. Because wave 1, 2, and 3 all spawn less combined. It's combined less than like 12 or so flesh pounds and scrakes. Then wave 4 spawns like 20 of them, and the wave 5 spawns like 30 of them. So it's understandable that people might start taking a lot of damage in those waves. And by that time, you can afford the Vulcan. And you can also probably afford this, especially if there's a commando giving you money as well. Because you don't even need any attachments on this. You can straight up run this shit raw for $2,000, which is very easily affordable. And then you just only pull it out just to heal people. Just, and then there you go. Back to the Vulcan. So that is something that you need to understand. These weapons are the worst weapons in the game. Do not use any of them. Only buy this and go with the Vulcan. What you should do is round 1, buy this weapon modded like this for your operational budget, and then swap it out for either an explosive con tech, a G33, or go straight into this and try to use it as a weapon and only clear trash, and then in the next wave go into Vulcan. and then go back to this. By wave 4, you should have, like, green or blue armor, Vulcan, and the heal gun. Okay, now let's start talking about his skills. God, 10 minutes and we're just starting this. I'm going to timestamp this as well. Okay, so this is the worst skill tree in the entire game. This is... Honestly, it's hard to describe how bad this skill tree is. So let's just start with the first skill. Ally revivals are 30% faster. Okay, this is going to make me sound a little condescending, but I need you to just bear with me for a moment. I promise I'm not trying to be. If you think reviving faster is a valuable perk, you are definitely not very knowledgeable in how this entire genre of game tends to work. Not to say you're like an idiot or anything, not to say you like should shut up, okay? Your opinion's like valid and all that, but you need to think about this logically. If someone is downed, there is one of two things is true. Either they got downed in a situation that does not matter at all, and anyone can just walk up and revive them and it's fine, in which case this does literally nothing and there's no reason to have it. Or they got downed in a very risky situation where revive is very dangerous, and this perk actually does something by getting them back in the fight quicker in a dangerous situation. The problem is, how many dangerous situations can you unironically save by walking up to one guy and reviving them faster? That one, you couldn't have prevented by just being the guy doing 3 million damage yourself and killing things before they became dangerous. That's problem number one. Problem number two, once one person goes down and it's like a legit down, like, oh shit, we're getting overwhelmed now, this is actually a bad, like a hard to live situation, standing still and reviving someone is about the worst thing you can be doing. You need to be getting the fuck out of there most of the time. Which further compounds the problem with medic. Once people start dying, saving them is no longer really an option even as the medic. Because even if you use this, with this to ranged revive them, what happens when they get back up? Okay, so you're holding a room, 4 flesh pounds have entered the room, one guy just got nuked and you're all starting to leave the room. You turn back and shoot the guy. Now, the exit with the teammates is blocked off by a bunch of heavy Zeds in the doorway that are now turning back around to sandwich him, so he can't run up back to you guys. And he can try to leave through another exit, assuming there even is one, in which case he has to hope there isn't another group of, say, Gorefast or something spawned in there that now sandwich him in a hallway between that and those guys, which means he just ends up going down again. The problem really is, once you go down in this game, more often than not, it is such an unrecoverable situation that you're just fucked. You are especially fucked if the thing that downed the person is a Scrake, in which case it just instantly executes them, and get fucked, why are you even playing medic? Didn't you know this game wasn't designed with co-op in mind? And healing them for additional health on revival is genuinely insulting. You are the fucking medic. You are the class that starts with a pistol that has unlimited heals for other people. Who gives a fuck if they could revive with 1 HP and you'll instantly heal them back up to full? Who gives a shit how much health they revive with? That's insulting. If this was like reviving allies restores 50 armor or something like that, this should be ally revivals are 50% faster. Reviving allies restores their armor by like 35 points. Your armor by 35 points. Gives you a 20% damage boost and a 20% speed boost. And them a 20% damage boost. No, that's exactly what you would need to do to fix this perk. You and them receive 35 armor, 20% movement speed, damage, and damage reduction for like 15 seconds. Then I could genuinely see this occasionally have... It would still not be that good, because there's another concept you need to grasp. It's called building for failure. This is a perk that's only active when you're already losing the game. So you're building under the presumption you're going to lose. Well, if you just weren't medic to begin with, and you were a class that killed things before they killed your guys, then you would probably not have been in the losing position to begin with. Then you consider this perk's actually really good. Using syringes, repair 20 armor integrity. Armor restore, self-armor restore is one of the most important things a class can have in this game. And syringe bags granting 2 syringes means everyone on the team is getting an extra syringe per bag. So if you just place syringe bags with this down every round, you have genuinely generated like 50 syringes. It's pretty absurd. Not that anyone needs those syringes, and this is the other problem. If you're the medic and you have the capability to heal people, syringes lose value. So everyone getting an extra syringe per syringe bag is valueless by default, because why do they need to use syringes if there is a medic on the team to begin with? So, like, it's a catch-22. Neither of these perks do anything most of the time. So you're better off just using this to occasionally get a quarter of your armor back. Or a fifth, I'm sorry. Deal 25% increased weapon damage to enemy flesh and mire hit zones. Okay, problem with that. Do you actually know what a flesh and mire hit zone is? Because I'm going to give you something right now. Where is it? This guy doesn't really have flesh hit zones, like, at all. He's pretty much exclusively Zed Tech hit zones. This guy's the same way. He's most exclusively Zed Tech hit zones. And what do you know? The Scrake, as far as I'm aware, is also mostly Zed Tech hit zones, like his head. So, that perk isn't helpful ever. That perk is helping you against the trash mobs that you are already effectively one-shotting. I don't know why this isn't just deal 25% increased weapon damage like it is for basically every other class. Pill Mill is the worst way to get more damage, but this is the... more ammo is more damage total per, like, restock. I will say, just as an aside, if you take this, I wouldn't really blame you. Pill Mill's not much better. Maximum ammo capacity is generally not a good thing, because it's better to just have more damage so that the damage gets outputted instead of just having to ping them more. Because again, remember, the more you have to shoot, the longer the enemies are alive, the longer they're alive, the more damage they deal, the more you need to heal. Why are you even playing this class? Play a better class that deals more damage, so they're alive for less time, so they deal less damage, so less healing is needed. It's just a violent cyclical loop. But you do also kind of need this to get through waves, especially if you're going to use the medic's guns. If you're solo medic, you're not taking down an entire HOE wave without this extra ammo, usually. Weapon healing is increased by 30% is terrible. This game really doesn't lend itself well to this kind of perk, because this is not a game where you do strong individual heals. You do a lot of little heals. So 30% of 10 is 3. Well, it's better to just have more ammo, like for your tier 4 laser gun, so that you generate more heal darts, so that you could just shoot more darts. It is objectively, like, this is not a matter of opinion or debate. If you're going to use the tier 4 gun for your healing, or you just like it, or whatever, you will objectively get more healing by virtue of being able to shoot more of the primary fire to generate more darts, that each dart heals for 70% more than this 30% increase is. So each singular dart generated is worth like 3 1/3 of this perk. So having 50% more ammo means you also generate 50% more darts. Each individual dart is worth 3 times as much as this perk. There's just no reason to take this. If you're using the heal cannon, the jizz spitter, as it's colloquially named, then you have like 700 bullets of nothing but straight healing. So there's literally no reason to do more or less healing. It's inconsequential. Which takes you right back to, you might as well have more ammo so you don't run out. Healing allies with your weapon or hitting allies with your weapon's healing effects heals you for 50% of your weapon's healing. This is, on the surface, a good perk, and there was something I forgot. I'm supposed to mention it, but there is a way, I forget if it's like shooting a trade pod or something. There is a way that you could actually proc this in solo, and there it's pretty good. You're going to have to forgive me for not remembering the tech. I saw someone write it down in a stream chat once, and I just forgot to remember it because this class is awful, and I don't ever bother playing him. But that's pretty good. However, this is also pretty good and arguably better. Healing allies with your weapon grants them 20% damage reduction. So, this is kind of important because nobody really cares if you give them flat health, because the only health point that matters is the one that kills you. You know, as long as you have 1 health, you're still in the fight, so it's inconsequential at the end of the day. Well, 20% damage reduction will allow them to take an extra hit from a Scrake or a Gorefast or whatever, or a Flesh Pound or whatever the fuck. So, you might as well take this to top them off with damage reduction. You might as well take this and then occasionally swap off the Vulcan and just... That's also why I highly recommend you heal with this gun instead of the darts, because with this, you can be actually useful. With this, you can be Vulcan, 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 Vulcan. Aw, shit. Everyone is fully healed. Everyone has buffs. Vulcan, 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 Vulcan. Okay, everyone's healed. Everyone's buffed up. Whereas with the darts, you gotta, like... And again, if you don't macro the darts, you shoot them kind of slowly. So, like, you know. In multiplayer, I would say this is kind of useless. Because, like, you're the medic. You're already good at healing yourself. You have your ultimate, syringes, whatever the fuck, your grenades, your effect on kill. Like, you have so many ways to self-heal that in multiplayer, why would you ever use this? I'd rather make everyone stronger. With at least one other player or trader pod nearby, you take 25% reduced damage. So, this perk is pretty damn good, actually. I will give it up. This perk is really nice. 25% reduced damage for yourself is just decent. It's even decent in solo, because for the first half of the wave, you're going to set up near the trade pod. I'm very happy they included the trade pod thing. I don't have anything else to say about this perk. It's just nice. Like, this should exist on Medic. This perk, however, I'm very iffy on. Shooting downed allies with your weapon's healing effects heals their bleed out health for 200% of your weapon's standard healing. So, there's 2 ways you can view this perk, and one of them is a significantly higher skilled viewpoint than the other one. One of the ways you can view this perk is, that's so cool. I can heal people when I'm running away, or I can heal someone before they get executed, or I can heal someone before whatever the fuck. That's a very low skill view of this perk. If you are, the better you get at these games, the more you realize something. Wait a second. If you are in a situation where I have to heal dart you to get you up, how are you not just going to immediately go down again? And if I don't have to heal dart you to revive you, why am I wasting healing that otherwise could have gone to keeping the already alive people that are contributing to the game? I could be keeping them alive instead of wasting my heals on you. And if that sounds familiar, if that sounds like a familiar conundrum to you, then you are probably pretty good at Payday 2. Because Inspire in Payday 2 was for a very long time considered a extremely meta skill because it did exactly this. Then, really good players like KevClid and Carrot and Uncle Gale started getting involved, and they rightfully pointed out to everyone that if you're in a situation where a ranged heal is useful, then, like, how do you not just go down right away again? And if the ranged heal is not useful, why are you spending the ranged heal on the times where it's not useful? It's the ultimate catch-22. And it's not to say this perk is never good. It definitely has some moments where it clutches up. But again, you also have to ask yourself, if people are getting downed in situations and frequently enough where this perk is clutching up, like, why are, like, those, none of those people should even be in Hell on Earth to begin with. Like, you probably aren't going to win with or without them, because they should be back in hard. Killing enemies with your weapon has a 30% chance to trigger a chemical reaction that lingers for 5 seconds. This is literally just your grenade. This perk literally is just, whenever you kill something, 30% chance to use a grenade for free. That is a ridiculous amount of value. And it panics people and afflicts toxin to them. It's just really, really good for solo. Healing an ally with your weapon increases weapon damage by 30% for 10 seconds. Damaging an enemy with your weapon grants you a stack of heal up to 10 to last for 10 seconds. Consume all stacks of heal and increase the heal by 10 stacks for each consumed. This perk is godly in multiplayer, I must say. I truly must say. This perk single-handedly makes Medic a functional class in multiplayer. Because without this perk, you might as well not be contributing. So, you know, something I forgot to put in the intro is prevention is better than a cure. Focusing on supporting and healing your teammates is the worst way you can play a healer. That's just a general rule of thumb in PvE games. Nobody wants someone who sits there and just overheals you a bunch. However, it has to compete with this, and this is the very clear best perk. Allies healed by your weapons deal 30% increased weapon damage for 5 seconds. I mean, do I really need to say more? Just 30% damage for everyone is better than 30% damage for one. Okay, so do I give 5 people with the Vulcan 30% damage, or do I give myself with the Vulcan 30% damage? Really, the shittiest part of this is like every 5 seconds, which to give you a perspective here, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. This often, you need to be swapping weapons and constantly healing people. And this is where the Killing Floor 3 medic really just sucks shit compared to the Killing Floor 2 one. In Killing Floor 2, someone correct me if I'm wrong, it was like 25 seconds or something, or like 15 seconds that this perk lasted for. A very similar perk to this. Which meant that you weren't just constantly babying people. Well, this perk is objectively the best, but for it to really work, you need to constantly be babying everyone, and you only get a few seconds of shooting yourself. And ironically, this is the only time where a medic that focuses mostly on healing is even remotely valuable. Before you have this perk, that playstyle is literally akin to griefing. Yeah, like, this is obviously optimal. It's just really fucking annoying to constantly use it. And if you're not constantly using it, well, why did you take it? Bionic Grenade Bionic Grenade Gas Cloud deals 120% increased damage to small enemies. Who gives a shit? Small enemies are already, like, not a threat, and they'll already die from the Gas Cloud 90% of the time as is. 20%, like, it's just whatever. Radius increased by 30%. This is pretty good. And I do actually recommend taking this in multiplayer so that you can just heal the entire camping spot. Now, in solo, I highly recommend this. Grenades leave behind waste that lasts for 20 seconds. Interacting with the waste will restore 1 syringe. Now, this perk is kind of shitty, I'm not going to lie. The grenade lasts for a while. If the medic grenades were better, this perk would be really good. Now, remember, this is not just a syringe. You can just throw this down, pick it up, and use it as a 20 armor restore, even if you're at pretty much full health. Like, that is worth doing. You hold 4 grenades, 3 syringes. With this, you're now holding 7 syringes. The problem is you need to chuck the grenade about as far away from you as possible, and then kite into the waste. In solo, it's really important to have this option. Again, I would rather just have more damage than have to do all this work just to have an extra heal, because I'm good enough to where I just don't need extra healing. If I spend 80% of the wave at max health, and I can syringe off what little damage I do take because I'm just good enough for it, then why the fuck do I care about having 7 syringes? That's really the problem here. Bionic Gas Cloud applies 120 Enfeeble. So, Enfeeble plus Panic plus Toxin and heals you. Enfeeble is like the best status in the game next to Confusion. It makes everything slow. You throw this in a choke point of enemies. And ironically, why would you ever take this perk? Because you can just, take Enfeeble. And, you take Enfeeble. And then they walk slowly through the gas, which causes them to panic in the gas, which causes them to take all the damage from the gas, which, as you can see in the preview video, this one perk enables you to always guarantee kill trash mobs. So, like, again, I ask, what is the point of this? Gas Cloud healing is increased by 100%. If you're not confident in the shitters that you're playing with, and you want to make sure you have enough healing without buying dedicated healing weapons, then it's okay to take this. Because your heal pistol plus this, if your heal pistol plus this is not enough to heal people, then they are genuinely so bad at the game that healing them is already a lost cause to begin with, unless you just sit there and pocket them the entire game. Enemies hit by gas cloud are infected for 7 seconds. Infected enemies deal biological damage to themselves and other enemies every 0.5 seconds. This is one of the few perks I have not experimented with greatly, but just looking from the preview video, I kind of figured this perk wasn't that good because, think about it, the bloat and the husk are infected the entire time. So they're taking the entire gas grenade's duration and the entire infection's duration, and they still don't die. So, like, how much damage is this infection really doing? Clearly not a lot. I mean, look at how fast those guys die, and compare it to this. And, like, I guess the infection must be doing about triple the damage of the actual grenades, like gas, which, considering it's a healing grenade, is really not that impressive. You know, if it's like doing 5 damage a tick, tripling that is still 1/10 of a commando's white weapon bullet. Biotic grenade gas cloud duration is increased by 12 seconds. This is just really nice to have, especially if you're taking this for extra heals. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's just more healing per grenade. Downed allies inside biotic gas clouds have their bleed out paused and are healed for 12 bleed out health each. This is the best version of these perks, but again, every single flaw that this perk has now applies to this. Except now, do you know what you're giving up for this? If 3 teammates are getting downed and it's time to skid fucking daddle out of there, wouldn't it be better to make sure you have an enfeeble trap in the choke point so that the fastest enemies don't chase you down and damage you as you're leaving the area? And if you never have to leave the area, people must not be getting downed in it, which further makes this perk redundant. In the situation where you'd want to use this perk, your grenade's better off doing something else. Healing the people that are alive and retreating, sealing off the exit point so that you can't be followed and chased down by Skrakes and Flesh Pounds that are faster than you guys. Like, when is it ever time to use this perk? Building to fail like this, if you take this perk instead of this one, this perk instead of this one, this perk instead of this one, and this perk instead of, like, this one or this one, you're basically ensuring that you're gonna fail because the perks that could have prevented you from failing to begin with, you didn't take so that you could have the perks on the what-if chance we do fail. Well, what if you just play a stronger class and nobody dies because everything that could kill them is dead before it reaches the camping spot? Have you ever considered that? Sanctum Field Explosion Blast damage is increased by 50%. Is incredibly fucking mediocre, but hey, you gotta take what you gotta take. And this right here is just weird. Allies within Sanctum's radius receive a buff increasing their move speed by 25% for 5 seconds. Excuse me, what? The field is, like, small. The field is like 10 meters, if that, not even. And 5 seconds is such a small amount of time. Also, by the way, in the preview video, they couldn't line the fucking spike up with the thing on the ground. That's how much care they put into this shit, by the way. He tries to walk into the middle, but he overshoots it, and they just literally could not do a second take of this. Thank you, Tripwire. You put a lot of effort into this game. Anyway, 5 seconds is nothing. So this isn't like a buff where once the field ends, you have 20 seconds to move around quicker to retreat to a better position because the field has ended. So, like, that's not how you use this. 25% movement speed in a heal field is useless because, one, every attack on the Skrake and Flesh Pound can hit you from, like, one side of this field to the other. So, excuse me, what? Second off, who cares if you move faster in a small radius? Like, this is just the most confused skill in the game. I don't understand what purpose it serves. It's not good for retreating out of the field. You can't kite inside the field. You can't step into the field to get the buff to then leave it and benefit. Like, what is the point of this skill? When expires, it heals all allies within its radius for 40 health. Hold on, wait, excuse me, what? The field that constantly heals people now does a burst heal when the field ends. Buddy, one, you're the medic. You specialize in healing people. So, adding an extra source of healing people, who gives a fuck? Just throw a grenade on the ground. Shoot them with your heal pistol. Use the BRAP cannon to heal them. Like, you have so many other options to get them up to full health that who gives a fuck if this does an extra heal or not? Second off, need I remind you that this ultimate is the ultimate that constantly heals everyone that's standing inside of it? Why do they need an extra heal? They're already in full health by virtue of standing in the ultimate that heals them. This should be, when Sanctum expires, it overheals all allies within its radius for 40 health. You want to make support medic viable in this game? Add overhealing. Make it so that when the medic heals you with a heal dart when you're already at full health, he can heal you up to a maximum of 20% of your health. And then give him a perk that increases the maximum to like 40 or 50%. That would single-handedly make this class so much fucking better. Sanctum's energy field deals 175% increased damage over time to small enemies. Oh shit, I hope nobody just copies the fucking build because this is actually really important. Sanctum's energy field deals 170% increased damage over time to small enemies. Again, who cares? I only take this because, like, this perk is literally useless in solo. But, like, who cares? Who cares? It's just not that impactful. The small enemies already die by virtue of walking. This thing is like a fucking fly trap, dude. Once they walk into it, once it's gotcha, it's gotcha. Like, once you start standing inside of it, they just sit there and take damage and get stunned over and over again until it ends. But whatever, this is cool, I guess. Also, it specifies small enemies, so, like, this isn't even useful versus the things you actually need help killing. This is okay, I guess, in multiplayer. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't know, it covers more camping spots. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, it's just the bare minimum a skill can be to be useful, I guess. Okay, the first actually good skill. Allies within radius receive a buff, increasing their weapon damage by 20% for 5 seconds. Again, with the 5-second shit. This should be like 20 seconds. But anyway, I digress. This is actually good. And this is the only reason why you'd want to be standing inside this field. Like, I don't know what else to say. This is the obvious no-brainer pick. If you pick anything else, you're just wrong. There's literally nothing to it. Enemies damaged by the field deal 20% reduced damage. Again, with this shit, you are standing in a field that constantly heals you. So if a Scrake is damaged by this and gets 20% damage reduction, by the way, you're already getting 20% damage reduction from the medic's weapon heal. So, like, who cares if they take a further reduced 20% damage? Like, they're already out healing the incoming damage without this, so this does nothing most of the time. Literal noob trap perk. Sanctum's healing is increased by 100%. Brother, I'm gonna kill whoever made this class. You are the medic. Throw a gas grenade down. Use the brap cannon. Heal them with your darts. Why do you need heals upon heals upon heals upon heals? You need as much healing as you can get to fully heal people consistently and quickly. But once you've reached a point where it only takes you a second to fully heal someone, why do you need more healing? What does it achieve? It's just empty overheal that goes nowhere. It just goes on the fucking scoreboard and does nothing. So you're going to tell me that you're going to make 5 players do less damage so that they, while they're currently, by the way, need I remind you, this is the ultimate that heals you already. So they're already restoring like 10 health a second. Is it really that big of a difference that they receive like extra healing when they're already in a field that is constantly healing them, standing next to a guy who has the capability to take them from 0 to 100 in under a second? Like, was the priority even more healing? What, you can now take them to 0 to 100 in 0.7 seconds? Like, what? Like, huh? Gadget energy recharge rate for other allies while in the field is increased by almost fucking 300%. This is, like, legitimately overpowered. And when people become, the better people get at this game, the better this becomes. You should be using your gadget on cooldown without exception, almost always. Because remember the ABCs of MMOs, always be casting. The more you cast, the more you recharge. The more you recharge, the more you can use the ability. If you are, say, a sniper, like, for example, one of the first priorities you should have in every game is just getting your ultimate on cooldown. Because think about this. If you're a sniper and you hold on to the right time to use your ultimate, maybe you use it once or twice per wave. If you just use that motherfucker immediately as soon as enemies start spawning, you get to use it like twice in the first wave, 4 times in the second wave, 6 times in the third wave. Like, you just keep using it. More stuff is better than less stuff. The old StarCraft adage, more stuff always beats less stuff. The way you gain more stuff in these kind of games is by using the stuff you have that needs to recharge. You know, to actually start the recharge. You're not losing anything by using your ultimate. So holding on to it is stupid. And this perk is really good, is basically what I'm trying to say. Duration is increased by 8 seconds. Brother, who gives a fuck? The only reason this field matters is the buffs. The only reason you want to be in this field is because it's tripling your recharge rate and it's giving you a damage buff. Believe me, hey, Tripwire, fun fact, if you're a medic and you're not using this skill right here, steroid injection and energy cycle, I'm going to tell you a fun fact. I'm going to deliberately not stand in your healing field. You want to know why? The really annoying blue effect is a gigantic negative and I don't want it covering my screen. So I actively want to be standing outside of your field because you could just throw a heal dart at me to heal me. So I don't need the healing from this ever. I can either use my class's self-heal to heal myself. I can either heal myself with a syringe, or you could just shoot me with a heal dart. So unless your field is actively buffing everything I have, why the fuck do I want to actively be standing in it? So yeah, extra duration is nice, but this is just objectively better. When the Sanctum field expires, it releases a final explosion that deals 800 damage. 800 damage is cool, but are you aware that a single Vulcan uncharged shot does like about this much damage? Because 430 damage that is neutral to everything, which always headshots because it's an AoE, means that it always deals like 860 damage. So this is one Vulcan shot worth of damage. Yeah, maybe make this 3,000 damage and I'll consider it. I also see that I don't even think I've upgraded this. Sorry, that's embarrassing. Okay, 2,000 damage. Well, we're still far off from the fucking 3,000 damage that I was willing to consider. So, like, even in my hypothetical, it's still, like, you didn't even reach my hypothetical getting maxed out. Live, on scene, fuck up that's making it into the video. Oh my god, even, okay, I was like, make it 3,000 damage and maybe I'll consider it. Fully upgraded, it's 2,000 damage. You didn't even reach the breakpoint that I would maybe consider using this at fully upgraded. See, this is why these videos actually kind of important. I can also see this one is somehow not maxed out either. But this one is fucking garbage, so it doesn't even... I can already tell you it doesn't matter. And that's another thing I want to talk about, proficiency rank. This dude has the worst proficiency. Extra time on your ultimate? Who gives a fuck? Movement speed for Z time? For what? Why isn't this extra healing? Like, look at what, like, Sharpshooter gets. Oh, almost doubling your already doubled weak spot damage to, like, quadruple your weak spot damage. Doubling your attack speed so that you hit twice as much, which doubles your DPS. Weapon penetration and your explosions get even bigger. Fire rate and infinite ammo. A shit ton of fire rate and reload speed. And what does our boy the medic get? I can run around faster. Oh, what do you use that movement speed for? Nothing. I have no synergies with movement speed. Look, movement speed is always good, but do you know what's funny? Z time is the one time where movement speed is not good because Z time is when you focus on dealing damage. So what? Is this just to make him retreat better, to sit behind his teammates, to not contribute to the fight better? Like, what does that achieve? And what? You've got to make sure you time your ultimate with the Z time to gain anything from that? Why the fuck does that even matter? Like, why does he have that? Like, no other class has to do that shit. This is the only good one. After activating Sanctum, it can be activated a second time before the first one expires to place a second Sanctum. Now, ally effects not stacking is a fucking goddamn crime because even if they did a stack, this would just be an okay perk. But whatever. So, I don't understand this, by the way. Sanctum's damage is reduced by 0%. Why even have the line of text? Like, no, seriously, if the end result of an upgrade is just getting rid of the negative of the upgrade, why even have the negative? All the negative does is just punish people who haven't met an arbitrary grind threshold. Like, this is just objectively bad game design. So, clearly the perk was balanced around it not having any damage reduction, or else you wouldn't have given it that as the final level, which means the only reason the reduction exists is because the perk is so strong that what, the moment someone finally finishes and reaches the level cap, you're afraid they're going to be too strong when they reach their peak of power? Like, what fuck? This makes no goddamn sense. It's retarded. Why even have the line of text? It feels like the only reason this line of text is here is because they need to have perks be upgradable. This is a perk that really doesn't need an upgrade. Upgrading a perk just to remove a negative that, when fully upgraded, the negative no longer exists is the worst fucking feeling. It makes the entire upgrade system feel arbitrary. It's like, why did you even make me upgrade this perk? Why didn't I just buy the perk and get the effect? Literally, this does nothing but, like, punish you for picking this perk without playing 3 more games or whatever after maxing the class. It's just the dumbest game design. This is legitimately only here because a game designer realized, hey, this perk can't really benefit from upgrades in any realistic way unless we make it insane and let you place like a third one down, which would actually be ridiculous. So we need something that gets increased by upgrading. And then another game designer was like, I got you. We're going to add a negative that goes away when you upgrade it to give you something to upgrade. It's like this skill system is so shitty, you had to come up with a justification for having the skill system be the way that it is. God, I hate this kind of design. Anyway, this perk effectively, don't use this perk like this retard in the videos using it. Use this perk to replace the thing right when it's about to end in the exact same position. That way you get double the duration for free. Which also means double the duration of all these buffs. And this is... I am so fucking sick of these showing up in video games. Sanctum Field Explosion Blast revives downed allies and heals them, blah, 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 blah. In Vermintide, okay, we have my main man, Kruber. Oh, we're the Uber Strike 5 or 4, it doesn't matter. Okay, I got the numbers reversed there. And it was universally accepted that his revive shout was the worst skill in the entire game. Mind you, Vermintide is a game where a revive shout would be significantly better than it would be in Killing Floor 3. In Darktide, the, oh, I want to see some guts! The veteran's revive shout is universally accepted by everyone, even the biggest haters of yours truly, to be the worst thing in the entire game. The single worst skill in the entire game. And guess what? This is also, at least this one, doesn't make your ultimate come back slower and reduce its range. That's the best I can say about this. Remember everything I said about building to go down? Yeah, it mega applies here. So, to use this is like an offensively bad skill. To use this skill, you need to, 1, hold on to your ultimate, which means, 1, it's not on cooldown, which means you get less uses of it, which means all this shit becomes less impactful. Second off, the less you use your ultimate, the less cooldown you give to teammates for them to use their ultimate more, the less damage buffs they get, the less healing they get, the less everything. So you need to deprive your teammates of damage, getting their ultimate back quicker, and brain dead healing, just so you can maybe revive a couple people and get a clutch clip to post. To say, look, this guy's wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Look at my clutch clip. Ignoring the fact that I was sandbagging for the other 5 games to get this one moment. Ironically, would you like to hear something really crazy? If you just took this and used this shit on cooldown, you probably wouldn't have as many downed people to revive, because they'd be standing in a healing field that lets them kill things and use their ultimate to mega kill things faster. They would have more of this shit, so you wouldn't need to use this in the first place. All in all, Medic is without a doubt the worst class in the game. His role can be entirely outsourced to everyone buying the heal pistol. He provides the least amount of damage. He has the least amount of synergy with the best weapons in the game. Just weapons in game in the general. He also has the worst weapon selection in the entire game. Literally every single one of these is worse than the other classes' alternative, except for maybe this and maybe this. Well, the bow's also pretty bad. Damn, blue weapons just fucking suck in this game across the board, except for the Scar. But, like, why would you ever use this or this? Like, Ignoring the fact that these two weapons, by the way, are literally copy-paste of one another. This does 60 damage, this does 70. When fully modded, this does 104, this does 104. Like, these weapons are like literal fucking copy-paste of one another. The only difference is like this one gets more heal darts or whatever. But then this weapon is infinite healing and this weapon gets infinite heal darts, and it really begs the question, why would you buy this and not just buy this, which does almost double the damage? You know? It really does just beg the question. 840 capacity, and this is 508. Like what? I guess this just gets more capacity, but who cares? It's better to just kill things quicker with higher damage than it is to shoot them a lot with more ammo, which then becomes more expensive as well, by the way. It's just, there's so many design flaws with this character. If this guy could overheal, he would be so much better. Honestly, there are very few good support characters in PvE video games. Because in a PvP game, it's very easy to make a support character work. Just make sure they're constantly healing, give them a small source of damage. Unless you're retarded like the Overwatch developers and you make the highest DPS character also a healer, that's definitely a design choice. But, you know, we don't have to be retarded. We're in the internet age. Being retarded is a choice. And people are still choosing to be retarded, which makes me proud to be human. Anyway, point is, healing in general in a PvE game is incredibly weak. Because one, just about every fucking PvE game on planet Earth gives you multiple ways to heal yourself. In a game where there is no roles, literally, this game does not have roles. The medic doesn't need to heal. Everyone can... Literally, I want to show you guys something. What is the difference? I want you to answer a question. What is effectively the difference between a medic and a commando? No, like, genuinely answer me this. What is the difference between a medic and commando that buy the same weapons? What if a commando... Because remember how the commando can buy weapons for cheap? Yeah, what if he buys the Vulcan on wave 2, and then buys this on wave 3, and then he just heals people? No, like, I want you to unironically answer the question. What is the difference? The medic's heals hit harder than the commando will hit for with his healing? But, like, is that actually valuable? Because look at this. It is a beam of constant healing. Even with no perks, even at level 0, this can take you from 0 health to 100 health in like a second. Okay, the commando doesn't give you the same buffs as the medic. Okay, sure. But then you are acknowledging that the only reason you're playing the medic is for those buffs, which is what you should be playing him for. But then that really begs the question, would you contribute more damage playing the sharpshooter and just being another guy using the Vulcan with 100% damage increase? Is what's better, giving 5 people with the Vulcan 20% damage increase, or 1 person getting 100% increase with the Vulcan? It's a trick question. The answer's the fucking same. That both equals to about 100%. So, like, you would contribute as much damage by just being the sharpshooter holding the Vulcan as you would being the medic supporting the 5 other Vulcan users. And the actual healing output can be done by literally anyone. Medic has no reason to exist, he has no identity, and he provides literally nothing of value. Because since anyone can just buy a gun that is 100% heal output and heals everyone up really quickly, there is no reason to be a medic. Because medic's job can be done just as effectively by a non-medic, because they could just buy the medic's guns. This is a game where your class almost doesn't matter. Your class exists as a platform to provide yourself buffs and initial tankiness. Not survivability, just initial tankiness. Because as long as you don't die in like a second, any class can self-heal their way out of any situation. And better classes can also shoot their way out of any situation, while also restoring any amount of armor that they need to. That is what makes classes like the Ninja and the Engineer and the Firebug so good. You know what all 3 of these classes have in common? They all have... So the Engineer has ridiculous armor restore. He can restore, like, 90 to 100 armor in like 10 seconds if he needs to. The Firebug can restore 6 armor and 6 kills and get 40 health back on a 20-second ultimate. The Ninja can get anywhere from like 10 to 50 health back on an ultimate and get 8 armor back. These 3 are arguably the best classes in the game, and they're arguably the best because they all do the same thing. They all provide damage buffs to the Vulcan, and they all provide ways to get armor and health back. Which means any one of these classes can comfortably solo almost anything as long as they have the dosh to buy fucking ammo at the vendor. Whereas a guy like this, well, yeah, he could technically do all of that too. He's just slower. The Ninja, 60% damage increase. The Engineer, like 40% damage increase and AoE increase. The Firebug, 40% damage increase. And it's like this guy gets effectively fuck all. The difference in this guy's damage and like the Firebug or Commando's damage, to put this into perspective for you, just if you just run the numbers, Firebug gets like 40% extra damage. Commando gets like 30 to 50% extra damage. The difference between like all of like between this guy, and this guy, these two, the discrepancy is even greater. And this guy is the same difference as having an unmodded weapon and a fully modded with all purple mods weapons. I'm not even fucking joking. Let's actually look at this. So let's just look at the Vulcan, right? Let's say you're using the, where is it? 20% damage, okay? And then, so hold on. 20% damage, 35% damage, 55% damage increase. So, the difference between an unmodded Vulcan and a purple modded Vulcan is about 55%. Okay, well, this guy contributes... This guy literally doesn't get damage buffs outside of his ultimate. 40%, 55%, literally the exact same, by the way. Like, 100-something percent, 60%, almost literally the exact same as unmodded to modded. Playing Medic means you're effectively playing with an unmodded weapon, whereas every other class gets to play with weapon mods and a stacked perks. That's the damage difference. It's like going back to unmodded weapons. That is, like, unironically, I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat myself like a fucking idiot, but that is unironically the difference in this class versus everyone else. The Medic is just terrible. He has no purpose. All right. I think I've ranted about this class long enough. See you later.